Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the SLAPSTICKS podcast. We're going to try and keep the mood up this week, but it was not a good week. The Blues played 3 home games, a 4-2 loss against the Utah Hockey Club, an 8-1 loss against the Washington Capitals, and a 3-2 choke of a loss against the Boston Bruins. So, not a good week, but we'll break down the games here. We'll get into it. That first game, home against the Utah Hockey Club, a historic matchup. First time those two franchises technically have played each other. We can all act like it's not the Coyotes, but whatever. And the Blues looked good for a majority of that game. I think it's been an ongoing theme that we've said the Blues play a good 30 minutes and then a bad 30 minutes. More the same in that game. But they were up for a good chunk of that game, and then it just didn't go well. You give up the go-ahead goal with about 4 minutes left. And
Is that Boston?
No, that was against Utah.
Damn.
So 2 chokes. We'll get into the Boston one, but the Blues, I thought we played well defensively. Only 15 shots on goal in that game against Utah, so the offense needs to ramp up a little bit. But that was probably our best game of the week, one might argue. So still came out with no points since the last episode, but whatever. Then we get into the next game, which was an 8-1 loss against the Washington Capitals. That is the second time in 16 games this season that the Blues have lost 8-1. And speaking of 8, the grade 8 scored 2 goals, so that at least made it worth it, I guess. He could have scored the only 2 goals. We still would have lost 2-1, but whatever. Just from the start, the Blues did not look good. It was nice to see the young defenseman Scott Perunovich get his first NHL goal. It's about damn time. I think he's played 74 games, and he just scored his first goal. Now, he is a defenseman, so it's a little different, but took the kid a while. So it's good to see him finally put one in the net, even if it was the only goal in an 8-1 loss. Then, yeah, Ovechkin had 2. Just honestly, the Blues were in it until the goal by Rasmus Sandin that made it 5-1, and then they proceeded to give up 3 goals in the final 6 minutes of the game. So it was already over.
They probably weren't trying at that point.
No, it was already over at that point, but just running up the score adds insult to injury, so not a good feeling. And then we get to probably the more heartbreaking of the losses out of the 3 games, which was against the Boston Bruins, the final game of this homestand. The Blues were, for people who didn't watch, we played really well defensively until the third period started. We had a 2-0 lead with 20 minutes to play and lost 3-2 in regulation. Now, the good teams, I've watched a lot of hockey in my life. The good teams, when they choke in overtime, you at least fight and get a point. But the Blues, no, they were just like, hey, Pasternak, there's a minute 12 left on the clock. Why don't you bury one right here? Take the lead.
I like Boston's announcers. They're always, Pasta's on the menu tonight.
Yep. And he sure was. So that was a tough game. I thought Bennington played well, but man, it's just not a good finish there for the Blues. Before we film the next episode, the Blues will go on road trip. They'll play 4 games before we film the next one. They'll be in Buffalo tonight. That's a game you absolutely have to win. Buffalo's playing well right now, so we'll see. And then Saturday, the Blues will lose again in Boston because it's an afternoon game and we don't show up for those. And then Sunday, back-to-back on the road, we play in Carolina, who, despite the loss against Utah last night, looks really good this season. Yeah, but win's a win. Then they'll come home. Last game before we film the next episode will be at home against the Minnesota Wild. And then
might as well mark that as a loss.
So we'll see what they could do. Starting to get some guys healthy. I think they said Nick Leddy might be back in the next week or 2. Nick Leddy, yeah. I know what you were saying. No, 2 names. Nick Leddy.
Oh my God, I thought it was just the last name. Does he also miss wide open breakaways? And just...
But Blues starting to slowly get healthy. We're going to see some guys trickle back into the lineup here in the next little bit. But we'll see how this next week goes. Hopefully it's not a replication of what just went down this week because that was terrible. Get into the standings here, Nick Walk.
I didn't check them, so I'm excited to hear.
I'm just going to go bottom to top. We're not going to talk too much about the teams. I checked earlier, and none of the playoff matchups from last episode changed. So
Blues are still in the playoffs?
I believe so.
They play the Jets, right?
We would. which is
okay. Good luck.
yes. All right, so we'll start at the bottom with the 5-9-2 Nashville Predators.
You still think they'll make the playoffs?
I still do. I really do. The 5-9-2 Montreal Canadiens. The 5-8-2 Anaheim Ducks. The 5-8-2 Columbus Blue Jackets. The 5-9-3 San Jose Sharks, who, after losing their first 9 games, are kind of on a tear right now. They're
Is their number 1 pick playing?
He is.
That's why.
The whole team. It's not a fantastic record since then, but they're 5-2-1 since starting the season 0-7-2, so it's a step in the right direction. The 6-9-1 Chicago Blackhawks, the 6-8-2 Philadelphia Flyers, the 7-9 St. Louis Blues, the 6-9-3 Pittsburgh Penguins, who are starting to sell some of their superstars because they're garbage. The 7-8-1 Seattle Kraken, 7-8-1 Buffalo Sabres, 7-7-1 Detroit Red Wings, the 7-6-1 Tampa Bay Lightning, 6-6-4 New York Islanders. That's a weird stat line. The 8-7 Ottawa Senators, 7-6-3 Utah Hockey Club, 8-7-1 Edmonton Oilers, 8-7-2 Boston Bruins. Yeah, Edmonton's showing up after starting 0-5. Yep. Of McDavid, I'll go out on a limb and say he's 1 point away. He will become the 4th fastest player in NHL history to 1,000 points tonight, which is insane.
4th?
Yeah, he'll be 29 in January. So, yeah. So, I think it's 668 games he's played, and he's at 999 points. Unreal. So he'll probably hit it tonight, more than likely. Continuing with the 8-7-2 Boston Bruins, the 9-8 Colorado Avalanche, which is crazy because they started 0-5. Yeah, 9-3 in their last 12.
Wait, how are the Blues still in the playoffs then?
They might not be.
Because wouldn't Colorado take them over? Because Colorado wasn't.
Colorado's, yeah, because in that second wild card right now.
So the Blues aren't, right?
No, I think we should be. Anyways, moving on, the 9-5 Dallas Stars, the 8-6-3 Calgary Flames, who've started to fall, but they are still in a playoff spot. The 8-3-3 Vancouver Canucks, the 9-4-1 New York Rangers, and the Rangers are in 10th in the league standings right now, which is crazy because they're 9-4-1. That's a fantastic record. And they're 10th. Anyways, the 9-6-3 Los Angeles Pretenders, Kings, they shouldn't be there. The 10-4-1 Washington Capitals, the 10-6-2 Toronto Maple Leafs, the 10-4-2 Vegas Golden Knights, the 11-4 Carolina Hurricanes, the 11-4-1 Florida Panthers, and then rounding out the top 3, we have the 10-2-3 Minnesota Wild, the 11-6-2 New Jersey Devils. And Nick Walk, do you have a guess as to who the first place team in the National Hockey League is this week?
The Jets.
15-1 Winnipeg Jets. I think I saw a stat the other day. If they were to go 500 in their remaining, what would that be? 66 games. If they were to win 33 of those 66 games, they would finish with, I can't math. I think they said like 115 points. So they don't even need to play good the rest of the season. They will, though. I think they will. But they're looking like your President's Trophy winners right now. So we'll see if they can.
All that gets swept in the first round.
Yeah, we'll see. If standings stay where they are, which I don't expect them to, they would play Colorado in the first round. And yeah, while they beat last year in the playoffs, that's got to be a scary opponent. Even if you're a 60-win team going into it, that's got to be scary. So, yeah, that's all for the week. I'm still learning how to end one of these things. It's kind of awkward. But, yeah, we'll see you fuckers next week.